Hi, I'm Admiral, and in today's video, I'll be beating Pokemon Platinum for the first time. Well, sort of. You see, I've beaten Platinum before, but it was for a challenge run with only Garchomp, so I don't feel like I got the full experience. That's especially true since I've started several playthroughs of both Platinum and Diamond, and I've tried on and off to beat them ever since they came out when I was a kid, but I've never actually beaten either game. Around the third or fourth gym, I just kind of stopped playing, and I can't quite figure out why. Unless you count Legends Arceus, I've never finished a game set in Sinnoh. My inability to finish a Sinnoh game has never made sense to me, since I like Sinnoh and all of the changes made in Generation 4. I like all of the starters, all of the new Pokemon, and even all of the cities and towns. These games are objectively good, and I know that I like them. There's really no reason for me to have left so many runs unfinished, but that changes today. I will be finishing a normal playthrough of Platinum, and I will be making you all watch me do it. Unless you stop watching the video, so please don't do that. The game starts as all Pokemon games start, with me getting a starter after some boring story stuff. My irresponsible rival convinces me to step foot into tall grass, and Professor Rowan immediately puts a stop to our foolishness. I snag a Chimchar from the good professor, and we're off to the races. Well, not really. First, I have to beat Barry and his Piplup, which is light work. Then he drags me to Lake Verity so we can catch a legendary, which is a bit silly since we don't have Pokeballs, so that plan falls apart. Cyrus is there too, but he doesn't have anything meaningful to contribute to the story yet, so we just head to Sandgem for the professor's balls. Instead of his balls, Rowan gives me the Pokedex and the Return TM, but I'm not going to be using that until much later. I go back to Twinleaf, still without balls of my own, and then am formally permitted to explore the region to my heart's content. On my way out, my in-game mom volunteers me to deliver a package to Barry, which, ironically, is something that my actual mom would do to me. And so I set off for Jubilife, still without Pokeballs. At this point, I'm a bit fed up, so I buy 10 balls at the Sandgem store and then take a few steps onto Route 202, where Dawn gives me Pokeballs. Alright, so now I have a few extra. I go ahead and catch a Bidoof, a Shinx, a second, higher-level Shinx with a better nature to replace the first Shinx, and a Starly. From there, I head straight to Jubilife, where Dawn once again appears to lend me a hand. We encounter Looker for the first time, and then I go to train up Shinx and Starly a little to balance out the team. From there, I track down 3 of my brothers for a Poketch, and then battle Barry outside of town. We beat him pretty easily, so I take some time to explore my potential encounters. Nothing here interests me, so I just head straight to Orberg. On the way, Chimchar evolves into Monferno, giving us a much-needed answer to Rourke's Rock-type Pokemon. From there, I head straight to the gym fight, since we don't need to grind at all. I lead with Monferno into Rourke's Geodude. We nail him with a priority Mach Punch as he just sets up a Stealth Rock, so we finish Geodude on the next turn without issue. Next out is Onix, who takes Mach Punch moderately well. We're not able to keep Onix out of healing range, so we end up taking a handful of Rock Throws as we whittle his health away. Eventually, we take the Rock Snake down, and we're at about half health as Cranidos comes in. Luckily, Cranidos only has 30 base physical defense, so we're not in any danger as we hit him with Mach Punch and don't one-shot. A Headbutt in return takes Monferno to just 3 HP, so maybe we were in a little bit of danger. Of course, Monferno's survival means that we're still able to take it down on the next turn, getting the badge. After that win, I head back to Jubilife so I can go to Eterna City next, home of the second gym leader. In Jubilife, Dawn and I stop a mugging, and then I catch myself a new buddy, Budew. From there, I head right to Floroma Town and start some more story stuff. Team Galactic has taken over the Valley Windworks, so I have to beat up some grunts to get the key. I make sure not to step on any flowers, and then head right back to the Windworks, where I catch a Weasel before heading in to battle Commander Mars. That fight gets Starly to evolve, giving me my second teammate with Intimidate. I decide to do some grinding here before continuing on towards Eterna. The water types here make this a perfect spot to work on Shinx and Budew for a little while. Shinx evolves into Luxio while we're here, but Budew has a bit more friendship to gain before evolving. Either that, or I need to try again tomorrow morning after I make my way through Eterna Forest. I help Cheryl get through unscathed, and I'm not actually sure if she has any significance to the story after this point. Is she only in the game to help you through the myriad bug types that might poison your team? That's definitely the funniest option, but I'll have to keep an eye out for her, because it's been a while since I've touched Platinum. Anyway, I get to Eterna, and then slap a Soothe Bell on Budew and get to work. Unfortunately, it looks like she actually still needs a lot of friendship, since I leveled her all the way up to 20 with no evolution in sight. I also prep Staravia and Monferno, since our next major goal is clearing the grass gym. I run around town to see if there's anything else I need, running into Barry, Cyrus, and Cynthia on the way. There's nothing major to do though, so I get to work for the badge. Gardenia leads with Turtwig, and I send out Monferno. Thanks to the gym trainers, Monferno's already at level 22, so this should be pretty easy. I'm proven right as Monferno immediately one-shots Turtwig with a Flame Wheel, so Charon is out next. We send her into yellow health with another Flame Wheel and get a burn before taking a bit of damage in return from Magical Leaf. Gardenia heals, so another pair of Flame Wheels take Charon down before she gets another chance to do any more damage. Last out is Roserade, who outspeeds to take Monferno to around half with a Magical Leaf. We respond with a critical hit Flame Wheel to one-shot, winning the badge. Even if Monferno had gone down there, Staravia was in the back with Wing Attack, so we should have been fine no matter what. That win lets us use Cut outside of battle, meaning that we can explore more of the map. Unfortunately, before I can do that, I need to get a bicycle for the cycling road. And to do that, I need to help the store manager get his Pokémon back from Team Galactic. A quick battle with Commander Jupiter later, and we're good to go. Or at least, that's what I think, but instead I have to get an Explorer kit. And then I can finally leave. I head south and make sure to stop off under the cycling road to catch a Gibble. I also snag a Bronzor, but neither will be joining my team just yet. I also grab the TM for Earthquake and then make my way to Heartdome City. Along the way, Cyrus lectures me in a cave, and I still cannot get Budew to evolve. I'm starting to think this little fellow is bugged or something. She's at level 24 now and just refuses to like me. Putting that aside for a moment, I have to start thinking about Fantina, the next gym leader, and her team of ghost types. I don't have any super effective moves for her yet, so I'm not sure how I want to go about challenging her beyond hit the weaker defensive stat and hope for the best. I consider going to Veilstone to get the TM for Swords Dance, but we're still in the early game, so I'm not allowed to leave until I've done everything the game wants me to do, which means that I'm stuck in a long, tedious grind to get everyone up to an acceptable level. Even worse, I can't find any strategies that let me deal with Fantina effectively or that let me cheese it, so I'm at a loss. Honestly, I really just need a way to deal with Mismagius. I'm not sure how to handle the fight, until Luxio levels up and learns Bite, so I've been stressing about this for absolutely nothing. Going forward, I'm going to make sure I double-check level up movesets before working myself up. Luckily, everything about this fight became clear to me once Luxio hit that milestone, so I head straight to the gym. Fantina leads with Duskull, and I lead with Staravia. Staravia outspeeds to hit a Wing Attack for just under half of Duskull's health, and Duskull responds by missing a Will-O-Wisp. Staravia crits his next Wing Attack to finish Duskull off, and we stay in as Haunter comes out. Haunter outspeeds to hit a Confuse Ray, but Staravia breaks through to hit a Wing Attack for about 3/4 of Haunter's HP. On the next turn, Haunter hits Hypnosis, so Staravia doesn't get to finish her off quite yet. We're relatively safe to stay in since Haunter can't hit us with Shadow Claw, so I just go for Wing Attack. Haunter's Sucker Punch succeeds, which surprises me since I thought it would fail if its target was asleep and couldn't act, but then Staravia wakes up to hit Wing Attack for the KO, so I guess it works if the game knows you'll wake up? I'm not sure, but I also don't have time to think about it as Mismagius comes out. This thing outspeeds my entire team, so I bring in Budew. I just need her to not get crit and to land a Stun Spore, which, I admit, is asking a lot. But Budew survives and gets the paralysis, so we're looking good. After that, I stay in with Budew, hoping to sack her for a safe switch into Luxio, but a lot of paralysis and a crit from Mega Drain ensure that Budew lasts far longer than I thought she would, especially since Mismagius only goes for Shadow Ball now for some reason, instead of hitting super effective Psybeams. We take Mismagius to around half health before going down, but a held Citrus Berry takes her health back up. Luxio comes in now to hit a bite that leaves Mismagius deep in the red, but a full paralysis keeps us at full HP. Fantina heals on the next turn, so I have Luxio hit a Spark for a bit of chip damage. That lets us finish the battle with one last bite, getting the badge. From there, we should be good to head straight to Veilstone for the next gym, barring some story stuff. After a pretty easy rival fight, made only slightly difficult by my neglect of Weasel's training, I head to Salacion Town. From there, I don't play for about a week because I get pretty sick. Although, then again, I'm always pretty sick. No, but seriously, I slept until noon for the whole time, could barely breathe, and couldn't really focus, so I just played some other games that don't require any thought. Anywho, once my nose is back in working order, I sniff around the Salacion ruins for the Defogate gem, and then move on. I make it to Veilstone pretty easily, so I head right to the game corner to obtain plenty of TMs. After spending far too much of my life following a Clefairy's instructions, I get started on leveling the team up to match Maylene's level 32 Lucario. I have a strategy in mind for handling him, so let's hope it all works out. I think it should be okay. It's such a long grind that I don't record it because my computer doesn't have nearly enough space for that much footage, but the big notes are that Luxio evolves into Luxray, Weasel evolves into Floatzel, Gibble evolves into Gabite, and Budew finally evolves into Roselia. After clearing out the gym trainers, we're ready for the battle against Maylene. If you watched my Garchomp video, you may remember that my strategy for this battle was Swords Dance and Earthquake, and, well, get ready for the diet version of that. And by diet, I mean far worse. Maylene leads with Meditite, and I lead with Gabite. Since Gabite can't learn Swords Dance, I take a Fake Out on the first turn and then set up a Sandstorm. We take a Drain Punch in return and then hit an Earthquake. That leaves Meditite with just a pixel of HP, but thanks to Sand Veil, her Drain Punch misses, and then the Sandstorm finishes her off. Lucario is out next, and outspeeds to finish Gabite off with a Force Palm. I bring in Monferno next, who takes Lucario to yellow health with a Flame Wheel after getting nailed with a Drain Punch. On the next turn, a priority Mach Punch finishes Lucario off. We bring in Staravia to deal with Maylene's last Pokemon, her Machoke. We outspeed to slap it with a Wing Attack as he just misses a Rock Tomb. One last Wing Attack finishes it off, and we've won the battle. My next stop is Pastoria, I think, so I leave the gym and get ready to head south. As I leave, Dawn flags me down, asking for help getting her Pokedex back from Team Galactic. I'm not sure what stealing a child's encyclopedia has to do with remaking reality, or is Cyrus trying to make a new, separate reality? Either way, this doesn't seem relevant, but I help Dawn out anyway. We beat the crap out of Team Galactic and Dawn's Kadabra, and then head down to Pastoria. Once I'm there, I have to level up the team some more to prep for the gym fight against Crasher Wake. It should be pretty easy, since he uses water types and I have Luxray and Roselia. That work also sees Monferno evolve into Infernape and Staravia evolve into Staraptor, so we should be ready for the gym. Before I can do that, though, I have a rival fight against Barry, which you should already be watching. While I finish kicking his butt, I'd like to take a moment to remind you to subscribe. At the time of recording this, I'm only 10 subs away from having 69, and, well, that really makes all the difference. Anyway, after learning that Prinplup is not, in fact, a water steel type, I'm able to go ahead and challenge the gym. Crasher Wake leads with Gyarados, and I lead with Luxray, beefed up from the gym's trainers. We nail it with a quad-effective Spark to one-shot, so Wake sends in his Quagsire next. I switch in Roselia, and I have a tiny bit of doubt that Mega Drain will one-shot, so I decide to use a Growth first. Quagsire retaliates with a critical hit Rock Tomb to take Roselia to exactly half health. Luckily, we still outspeed, meaning that another quad-effective hit can one-shot and bring Roselia back to full HP. Now it's back over to Luxray as his last Pokemon comes out, a Floatzel. Floatzel outspeeds to hit a Brine, but Luxray is more than capable of taking the hit, letting us retaliate with a Spark for one last one-shot. I leave the gym and Barry shows up to tell Wake about Team Galactic's newest scheme, kicking off the game's domestic terror plotline. I track down the Great Marsh Bomber, beat the crap out of him, and then run to Cynthia. She gives me some medicine for the afflicted Psyduck near Solaceon, so I head north to help them out. As soon as I do, Cynthia pops up again, asking me to visit Celestic to make a delivery to her grandmother. I'm still in a helping mood, so I head on over to do her this favor. I chat with Cynthia's grandmother in the Celestic Ruins, where I have my first formal battle against Cyrus. Luckily, our team is more than capable of beating the crap out of his Pokemon. Infernape slaps Sneasel with a close combat, and then Luxray is able to take down his Golbat and Murkrow with a single spark apiece. That nets me the HM for Surf, meaning I can head to Canalave next, where the gym and a battle with Barry await. I also do a bit of travel to snag a TM I'll need for later, and then grind a couple of levels for each team member to get us ready for Byron. Before I can fight Byron, I have to deal with the rival fight. He leads with Staraptor, and I lead with Floatzel, because I forgot to make Luxray my party lead after grinding. We outspeed to hit a hard Surf as Staraptor just goes for double team, so a priority Aqua Jet on the next turn finishes him off. Barry sends out Roserade next, so I send in Infernape. One Flame Wheel one-shots, so I bring in Luxray as Empoleon comes in for Barry. We're able to hit him hard with Spark, but don't get the one-shot. That lets Empoleon retaliate with a solid Bubble Beam before we finish it off with a second Spark. Rapidash is fourth out for Barry, so I bring Floatzel back out. One Surf takes Rapidash out, so Barry sends out his last Pokemon, a Heracross. I bring in Staraptor, who outspeeds to one-shot with a quad-effective Aerial Ace and win the battle. That win makes Byron our next opponent. I lead Gabite into his Magneton, and we immediately outspeed to one-shot with a critical hit from Earthquake. That prompts Byron to bring in his Steelix next, so I send in Staraptor. It's immune to his Stab Earthquake, making Staraptor a better pick than Infernape here as we fire off a close combat. Steelix's insane defense ensures that it survives, which is why Infernape was so vulnerable to Earthquake. But instead of hitting Ice Fang, it instead sets up a Sandstorm. That ensures that Staraptor is able to fire off a second close combat to finish it off. I bring Infernape out now, as Byron sends out his Ace Bastiodon. A single quad-effective, stab close combat one-shots to win the battle, the badge, and some other non-existent third thing. Once I'm outside, Barry once again tracks me down, asking me to meet him at the library. Unfortunately, once I get there, Barry's clairvoyance kicks in, as he not only knows that I'm missing an HM, but also that I haven't been to Iron Island yet. I head there first to get the Strength HM and then head back to the library, where Rowan and Dawn wait for me and Barry to finally show up. Rowan asks us to visit the 3 major lakes to see if we can find the legendary Pokémon there, but before we can leave, the Domestic Terror plotline reaches its exciting climax. The bombing of Pastoria was just a trial run for the bombing of the lakes, as Team Galactic hopes to expose the legendary Pokémon within. I head to Lake Valor, where I beat up Commander Saturn, and then head to Lake Verity to check on Dawn and Rowan. I get there a bit too late to help, as Team Galactic has already taken the legendary and beaten up Dawn's team, so I take out my frustrations on Commander Mars. Having beaten her, Rowan advises that I go to Lake Acuity to help Barry out, so that's our next stop. I go through the land of the ice and snow, only to arrive at a sheer cliff face. Barry lets me know from the top that I need to go to Snow Point for the gym badge to climb the wall. Oh no, I have to spend time in one of my favorite places in all of Pokémon. Dang it! That means I have to head to the coziest place in Sinnoh to destroy Candace's team. Candace leads with Sneasel, and I lead with Staraptor. A priority Ice Shard from Sneasel does decent damage, but Intimidate ensures that it doesn't do too much damage, so Staraptor is able to fire back with a quad-effective close combat to one-shot. Candace sends out Abomasnow next, so I bring in Infernape, and now we get to see if I'm as good at preparation as I like to think I am. Abomasnow's Snow Warning ability triggers, setting up Hail, so I use the TM move I picked up back before I fought Byron, Sunny Day. Abomasnow hits a weak Avalanche in retaliation, and then I fire back with another move I picked up before the gym, Fire Punch. Being quad-effective, sun-boosted, and stab ensures that we knock out this Abomasnow and every other Abomasnow in a 5-mile radius with this one hit. Candace brings in Pillowswine next, who also goes down to a single Fire Punch. Last out is Frostlass. Without the Hail Up from Abomasnow, her Snowcloak ability isn't active. That guarantees that Infernape will connect with Fire Punch, one-shotting to win the battle and proving that I'm the smartest man alive, with flawless planning and execution. Now that I'm done patting myself on the back for an obvious and simple play, I have to go back to Lake Acuity to pat Barry on the back for being a good dude and protecting the Lake Guardian. Unfortunately, Barry gets no pats, because Jupiter apparently swept his whole team with her 3 Pokémon and took Uxie, so I have to head to Veilstone to free the Pokémon. On the way, I also pick up a Shiny Stone, so I can finally evolve Roselia. I actually end up doing this part twice, because I went straight to the Galactic Warehouse instead of the entrance to their headquarters, so I thought I had bugged my game and decided to reset. I eventually figured out what my problem was, which allows me to begin the raid with Looker's help. I tear through Team Galactic pretty quickly, so I find myself facing off against Cyrus again sooner rather than later. This battle actually gives me a touch of trouble, since most of my team is far lower in level than his Honchkrow. I'm still able to take the win, allowing me to venture into the HQ's lab and free the Lake Trio after a much easier second battle against Saturn. That means my next stop is Mount Coronet, where the final confrontation against Team Galactic waits. I'll also make sure that my team is leveled up to match Cyrus this time, so I don't have to deal with that junk again. I make my way through Mount Coronet and work towards the summit. Along the way, Gabite finally evolves into Garchomp, giving us a massive boost in our offense. I arrive at the summit, where Barry and I face off against Jupiter and Mars. Nothing super interesting happens in this battle outside of most of Barry's team going down to crits from the Galactic Gals, so I'll just skip it. Cyrus summons Dialga and Palkia and starts talking about the new world he's going to create. And then Giratina shows up. And you know what? Cyrus might be onto something, because if I had just gotten done shit-talking both God and the universe, and a pool of shadow immediately appeared before me with giant glowing red eyes peering out of it, I would start crying. But Cyrus not only doesn't fold, he doubles down. He looks Giratina in the eyes and says, "Fear is an emotion, and I don't believe in those." Which is so unbelievably raw. Anyway, Giratina drags Cyrus off to hell for disrespecting it, so Cynthia and I pop in after them to make sure the world doesn't get destroyed by the leaking distortion. I solve a few puzzles, think about how cool it'll be to finish this playthrough relatively quickly after spending 3 months on Fire Red, and then confront Cyrus for the last time. We do battle, and it's not super interesting. Honestly, I've only really mentioned the battles against him to have an excuse to put his theme in the video, since it's such a banger. But, unfortunately, that's the most interesting thing I have to say about Cyrus. I clear him out, and then confront Giratina. I huck a Master Ball at it, and consider adding it to the team since I kinda want to have a Ghost type. I decide to worry about that later, and finish up the story stuff by visiting Rowan back at Sanjum Town. He's very proud of me, which is nice, but I've got more important things to do. I head straight to Sunyshore, where the final gym leader waits. Volkner uses electric types, and I have a Garchomp, so this shouldn't be hard at all. Like, I'd have to be really bad at Pokemon and super unlucky to lose this battle. Volkner leads with Jolteon, and I send out Garchomp. Jolteon outspeeds to hit a soft Iron Tail, and we retaliate with a one-shot from Earthquake. His Luxray is out next, and we outspeed this time to one-shot with another Earthquake. Third out is Electivire, who hits a quick attack before also going down to Earthquake. Last is Raichu, who lacks a priority move or a speed advantage, meaning we one-shot before it can move to win the battle. Like I said before, I'd have had to really mess up to lose. But imagine how funny it would be if that had been foreshadowing. That win lets us traverse Victory Road and enter the Pokemon League proper, where the Elite Four, the Champion, and a final battle against Barry all wait. I get the whole team up to level 62 to match the Champion's ace, and battle Barry one last time. He leads with his Staraptor, and I lead with Luxray. We trade Intimidates, and then Luxray outspeeds to hit Staraptor with a Spark. Staraptor survives with a pixel left in his HP bar, and so is able to hit a soft close combat despite being paralyzed. Luxray hits a Crunch on the next turn, finishing Staraptor off. Snorlax is out next for Barry, so I bring in Infernape. A single close combat slowly brings Snorlax's health down to 0, so I switch back over to Luxray as Empoleon comes out. We outspeed, and this time Spark one-shots, so I bring Floatzel out for Rapidash. A single Waterfall takes him down handily. Roserade is next out, so I bring in Garchomp. A single Earthquake is more than enough to take Roserade out, meaning that Heracross is Barry's only Pokemon left. I bring Staraptor out to outspeed and one-shot with a quad-effective Aerial Ace, winning the final rival battle of the run. Here's a quick look at our stats and moves before the Elite Four. Even though we're heavily skewed towards physical moves and are almost hyper-offensive in our composition, I'm still feeling pretty good about this run. We have more type coverage than I'd expected us to have when I started, and a pleasantly diverse move pool. It's definitely still the basic Sinnoh team that everyone used when these games came out, but that was very intentional on my end, since I wanted an authentic Platinum playthrough. All that's left to do is take on the Elite Four and finish out the run in the Hall of Fame. First up is Aaron, the Bug Specialist. He leads with Yanmega, and I send out Infernape. We outspeed to one-shot with Fire Punch, so we're already off to a great start. Aaron sends out Drapion next, who isn't actually a bug type. I send out Garchomp, targeting Drapion's primary poison typing. A single Earthquake gets the KO, so I switch to Staraptor as Heracross comes out. A single Brave Bird takes out the Funny Beetle, because unlike Barry's Heracross, this one can actually threaten us, so I don't want to risk not one-shotting with Aerial Ace. Anyway, we stay in as Vespiquen comes out. Another Brave Bird one-shots, and I realize that I forgot to give my team members berries to hold. It's all good though, as Staraptor changes out for Infernape as Scizor comes in for Aaron. We outspeed to hit a quad-effective Fire Punch, winning the battle. Next is Bertha, the Ground-type Mono Trainer. Is that a word? It doesn't matter. I lead with Roserade, and she sends out Whiscash. A quad-effective, big root-boosted Giga Drain from Roserade is able to one-shot, and we outspeed, so we're cooking right out of the gate. Gliscor comes out next for Bertha, so I bring in Floatzel. He outspeeds to one-shot with an Ice Punch, which is good, because that thing knew Thunderfang. Bertha sends Golem out third, so I switch back to Roserade. Golem just ends up going the way of the Whiscash, so Rhyperior is out fourth. However, a third Giga Drain guides Rhyperior gentle into that good night. Hippowdon is Bertha's last resort, so I bring Floatzel back out to finish it. A Waterfall does great damage while simultaneously keeping Hippowdon out of healing range. Hippowdon only responds with Yawn, so we're able to finish it off and win the battle. Third is Flint, who uses fire types and has a fun haircut. He leads with Houndoom, and I lead Floatzel. We outspeed to one-shot with Waterfall, and that's pretty much all this battle is. Next out is Infernape, probably looking for Thunder Punch, but it doesn't matter since we outspeed and one-shot with Waterfall. Third out is Rapidash, and we actually use Surf this time, targeting his lower special defense to one-shot. Fourth is Magmortar, and a new evolution with more lip filler can't protect it from the Goatzel sweep, as another Waterfall one-shots another opponent. Last in is Flareon, who we once again outspeed and one-shot with Waterfall to take the whole dang thing. Last in the Elite Four is Lucian, whose psychic types might be a problem. He leads with Mr. Mime, and I lead with Garchomp. A spell tag boosted Shadow Claw from Garchomp is able to one-shot before Mime can set up a Reflector or Light Screen, so we're in good shape as Espeon comes out. Another Shadow Claw leaves Espeon with just a sliver of HP, meaning that Garchomp has to tank a pretty decent hit from Psychic. I predict that Lucian is going to heal, and I'm right, meaning that I'm able to get off a Swords Dance for free. That ensures that our next Shadow Claw one-shots, and Bronzong is next. I make the decision to bring in Infernape, and we outspeed to hit Bronzong with Fire Punch. It leaves Bronzong solidly in the red as they just set up a Calm Mind, which is a bit scary. I decide to go for Fire Punch instead of setting up a Swords Dance in case Lucian doesn't heal, and it pays off as that's exactly what happens. That means we're able to finish Bronzong off, so it's back over to Garchomp as Alakazam comes out. He outspeeds to hit Garchomp with a nasty Psychic, but we survive to one-shot with a retaliatory Shadow Claw. Last out is Gallade, so we go for one final Shadow Claw. It doesn't one-shot though, so we get hit with a decently hard Psycho Cut. Luckily, Garchomp lives with just 9 HP, and so is able to finish it off with a second final Shadow Claw, winning the last Elite Four fight. Finally, it's time for the champion. Cynthia's absolute banger of a theme starts, and she sends out her Spiritomb. I lead with Garchomp and outspeed to set up a Swords Dance. Spiritomb hits a soft Dark Pulse and then goes down to 1 Earthquake. Cynthia brings out her own Garchomp next, but a single level advantage and being at +2 attack ensures that my Garchomp is able to outspeed and one-shot with Dragon Claw. Melodic is out third for Cynthia, so I bring in Luxray. Melodic outspeeds to hit a hard Surf into Luxray, whose Spark leaves her in the red. As Cynthia heals, we set up with Charge to boost our next Spark and bump up our special defense. Another Surf leaves Luxray with about a quarter of his health left, but a held Citrus Berry ensures that he's going to be able to take another hit. Our retaliatory Spark one-shots Melodic, and we stay in as Togekiss comes out. Togekiss outspeeds to hit an Aura Sphere, but Luxray hangs on comfortably to one-shot with another Spark. I finally take Luxray out as Lucario comes in, opting to bring in Infernape instead. We outspeed to hit a nasty Fire Punch, but it doesn't one-shot. Lucario responds with a hard Aura Sphere, so we go for another Fire Punch as Cynthia heals. We hit one more Fire Punch to take Lucario down, so Cynthia sends out her final Pokemon, Roserade. I switch to Staraptor, who outspeeds to one-shot with Brave Bird, putting us in the Hall of Fame. And now, as always, I'll use the Hall of Fame sequence and the credits to offer my closing thoughts and to tell you what's next on the channel. My immediate takeaway is how fun that Elite Four run was. I'm not sure if I just did a good job on team composition or if it's something else, but everyone had a chance to shine there. Even team members that didn't do a lot during the run got a moment, like Roserade cleaning out half of Bertha's team, or Floatzel single-handedly obliterating Flint. It was a lot of fun to get everyone into the mix and let them use their strengths to full effect. I guess that's one of the reasons that this is pretty much the standard Platinum team. Overall, this was a great experience. I've finally beaten a Sinnoh game normally, and I'm proud of that. I still don't know why I can never finish them outside of the context of video making, but it's enough to know that I do, in fact, like Platinum. It's got a fun story, good characters, and excellent Pokemon. No notes. Well done, everyone. Also, I love this game's soundtrack. Pokemon games never really miss with their music, but I still need to give it a shout out, because there are some gems here. And as a final point of order, I want to refer back to Eterna Forest. Yeah, Cheryl is just in this game to keep players from using a ton of antidotes. She has no other purpose that I'm aware of. It makes sense from a game design standpoint, it's just a bit funny to think about. All I have left for you now is a look at what I'll be doing next. The first order of business is a new Pokemon Explained video, where I'll be looking at Eevees, Ivies, and Natures. After that, I'll probably be running it back against Pokemon X to show Diantha what happens when I have a full team instead of a single Goodra, so I hope you look forward to those videos. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Also, please make sure to leave a comment. Your feedback lets me know what I can improve on, what you think I'm doing well already, and what videos you might like to see going forward. It's really the single most important thing you can do. That's all I have for you today, so thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.